The show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. This is messing me all up. How is everyone doing? How am I sounding? We got Iggy T showing up. Hello. Yeah, how are you feeling, Iggy T? Twisted Movies says, yo. Fish on J is in. Yo, sup, Pat Cub? Is Cub a new thing? I don't know. Anyways, got a big show planned today. I don't know why do I swear to God, the next time that I get some glasses, I'm going with the anti-glare glasses because, man, I didn't realize, maybe it's just today, but man, there's a really bad glare on my glasses. Maybe I'm just recognizing it. Anyways, some of the big news today. By the way, I got a great guest that I'm looking forward to speaking with. Ralph Sutton. I mean, the guy has been all over the place. He's friends with a lot of people that I know. I think he might be friends with Ron Bennington, the guy that I pretty much learned everything about radio starting out in my career. Plus, he's worked on VH1 Classic. He's got a big podcasting, just empire. See, now let me ask you guys. I don't want to start off the show kind of begging, but this is the type of guy that I need to be friends with because, I mean, he could help me out. So that's coming up at 7:30, but everybody's freaking out. Elon Musk is buying Twitter. Listen, guys, nothing's really going to change. If anything, what up, Danielle? How are you? Hope you're well. But nothing is really going to change. If anything, the user experience is going to get better. I like where he's going with it. And you're going to start losing some followers. I know just today, I probably lost about 50 followers since the announcement that Elon Musk bought Twitter. But now he's wanting to verify everybody. He's wanting to make sure that everybody is real. And I think that's a good thing. It definitely is a good thing. in my opinion. Because there are a lot of fake bots and all that stuff on Twitter. And I know that I got some too. Radio people like to do. They'll be like, oh, man, let's go on this website that tells how many people are fake that follow somebody. Because everybody that has any traction on social media has fake followers. They do. Because you have bots that latch onto you like a goddamn tick. And you got to shake. Some of those fleas are going to get shaken off. You know, to the quote, the great songwriter Taylor Swift, you got to shake it off. Shake it off. And there's going to be some people that are going to lose a lot of people. Now, one of the things I read today, they were talking about everybody's freaking out because they might let Donald Trump back on. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't. Oh, man, I am so waiting. I think tomorrow, the interview with Piers Morgan and Donald Trump is going to air. And I'm not a fan of Piers Morgan. I'm really not the biggest fan of Donald Trump. I don't like. I've said this before. I am not a supporter of any political party. I think all politicians are crooked and shit. But why do people call me during my show and stuff? Like, seriously. Yeah, Trump has said that he's not going to go back on there. And the only reason that I think Donald Trump is saying that is because doesn't Donald Trump have his own social media platform now that he started? Because he got kicked off of Twitter and a lot of the conservatives and the MAGA people were upset at Twitter. Why? Hey, man, I'm doing a show right now. Hello? All right, so if you're going to keep calling me back and stuff, I'm going to pick it up. Matter of fact, I should have just put it on Bluetooth and answered it. But I don't think Donald Trump can come back. Isn't him coming back to Twitter kind of admitting failure if he does? So I mean, Danielle, you're right. He is entertaining, like it or not. He is. And Fish on J, Donald Trump has already announced that he's not getting back on Twitter. Let's be honest, Fish on J. That social media platform that Trump and the conservatives started is not doing so well right now. So it would kind of be shooting himself in his own foot if he did not get back on Twitter. Twitter was the place that everybody went to. Matter of fact, let's be honest here. Twitter was getting all types of just like publicity because every time Donald Trump would say something, Twitter would get mentioned. Donald Trump said this. Donald Trump said that on Twitter. So we all know like Twitter is just a juggernaut when it comes to social media. It's always been the wild, wild west. Don't they still like let people post pornography on Twitter? I want to be on that social media platform that is allowing people to promote their OnlyFans account and stuff. You know, just getting after it with a double-sided dildo and stuff. You know that Iggy says, I think he'll go back on. LOL, he loves the attention. You know that is going to happen. So everybody's freaking out. You know, the stock market took a shit today. I think they said Tesla stock just crap the bed. Just because, see, that's the funny thing. Everybody like wants to talk about the stock market is a good like barometer of how the economy is doing. But no, come on. Are we really saying that the economy is going to tank just because some billionaire bought a social media platform? And I'm sorry, people. I don't want to hear any more of people complaining about, oh, why doesn't Elon Musk take that 44 billion or 40 something billion dollars that he spent on Twitter and try to end world hunger? It's not going to happen, people. 44 billion is not going to end world hunger. It's I know Elon put a bunch of tweets out and people are kind of making a call back to that and stuff, but it's not going to happen. It's just, I mean, Bounty Hunter is on there. Bounty Hunter says Trump has Truth Social for iPhone users. I have 40 suspended Twitter accounts thanks to Calta's crybabies. Well, all right. I mean, okay, I got it. Sean Jay, the funniest tweet from Donald Trump was when the Democrats debate was on and he tweeted boring. Look, do not get mad when Donald Trump comes back. You know, I mean, Elon has already said that he's wanting to have open source for better algorithms to be able to get rid of this problem. So I don't want people to think that hopefully people don't think just because Elon's letting it eat, he's going to get people, he wants to authenticate all the users and stuff, that it's just going to be a lot of misinformation and stuff. Thank you, Tuddle Mark. Really appreciate that. It's just not going to be that way because they're going to have better algorithms. You know, I don't know how confident a lot of people are going to be. You know, everybody's like, oh, well, Tesla has self-driving cars and stuff. Well, you know what? A Tesla just ran into a private jet the other day because I guess its algorithms were off. But isn't that crazy with all the stuff going on? And I'm guilty of it because I'm talking about it straight out of the box and stuff. But there are so many other more important things. It was one of the top stories on the Today Show. I don't know if anybody else is this way. With my OCDs, and by the way, how speaking of OCDs, how many of you guys absolutely, maybe you hated it? I don't know. I enjoyed the interview with James Bailey yesterday. How great was he? It seemed like a lot of you guys liked the interview that I did last night. And I love people like that. I mean, the guy could have been bullshitting on a lot of the stuff he said, but who cares? I thought he was good on the air. I'd like to hear your feedback. You guys can give me a call here, 407-270-3044, or you can email me, tuddle@gmail.com, or I'll read your comment here in the chat room. How sad one rich person's toy crashed into another rich person's toy. Exactly. I mean, exactly. Twisted Movies writes, I'm a little suspicious of that video. The plane spun way too easily. That means the parking brake in planes do not sit without a parking brake. Fish on Jay, I mean, thank you, buddy. That was one of your best interviews on the podcast yesterday. What up, Philip Anthony comes in saying 2 Ds, Tuddle with 2 Ds. I got my interview coming up with Ralph Sutton at 7:30. I think I'm pretty sure. I mean, he could help me. I mean, he's got a like mega podcasting like company and stuff. I think it would be great. One of the first stories I wanted to get into. All right, you know, I was talking about so many other bigger things going on in America. What the fuck is wrong with people? Seriously, what is wrong with
Thursday,
people?
father Amiri Queen got
Because when I saw this story, and you gotta understand that I've been working in radio for a really, really long time. 1999, I started out with the Ron and Fez show. But man, oh man, this might be one of the most horrible stories. This might be one of the most horrible stories. And I'll get into some of my views on this. But there should be no debate on this. This grandmother and mother made their granddaughter and daughter drink a full bottle of liquor. These people should be like immediately. There should be no appeals. There should be none of this or that. And I know this is a big stretch. You know how everybody's against gay adoption, same-sex couples adopting kids. Why, if you did not want this baby or this grandchild, why not give it up for adoption? This is so bad.
We all hurting.
Thursday, father Amiri Queen got no parent should ever have to get. His 4-year-old daughter, China Record, died from alcohol poisoning.
Not because the kid accidentally got into alcohol. The grandmother, the goddamn grandmother made her You know, sometimes, look, I'll never be a parent, so I don't know this from firsthand experience, but I've seen it, like, with people that I know. Sometimes the grandparents love the baby just as much as the parent does.
Baton Rouge police say Record's grandma and mother are responsible for her death. Police say the grandma, Roxanne Record, forced China to consume an almost full bottle of whiskey while the mother, Khadijah Record, watched.
Just a doll, an angel, and it's hard.
China died from a .680 blood alcohol.
People, that is, think about this, okay? Back in 2019, when my alcoholism was horrible, I was at like 180, 190. What is the average weight of a 4-year-old daughter? Seriously. Drinking a full bottle of alcohol? Jesus Christ, man. This is one of the worst things that I've ever heard in my life.
Alcohol level.
That's insane.
To put that into perspective, Baton Rouge doctor...
Wait, whoa, hold on. I got to go back. Did they put a drop in there?
Alcohol level.
That's insane.
What was that little... Do you hear that little drop? It says, that's insane. Is this news station trying to be like a morning radio show?
80 blood alcohol level.
That's insane.
To put
Wow.
that into perspective, Baton Rouge doctor Ronald Andrews says that's about 10 shots. China's blood alcohol.
Well, I mean, trust me, I've done 10 shots before, but we're talking about a infant. We're talking about is a 4-year-old considered an infant? Danielle says 40 pounds, maybe. 10 shots for a 40-pound human being. Yeah, that, man, this is so sad. 10 shots. Ugh.
Alcohol level was more than 8 times the legal limits for an adult to drive. He says nobody could survive this.
I could survive 10 shots, but not a 4-year-old kid. No way, man. And what? See, now the mother and the father are not together. And this is what really pisses me off. That the mother and the grandmother probably did this because they hated the father. And they did. I don't see how any older generation could do this to a man. Like, I'm not lost for words too many times. And, I think Jason said, yeah, they should be forced to drink. Fish on Jay says this, they should be forced to drink bleach for what they did. I kind of agree with you, Fish on Jay. Like, I'm not one of those people that just says, oh, yeah, we need to kill them the same way that we... No, these people deserve the worst of the worst. Thank you, Tom Delaney. Look, guys, Tom Delaney is one of... He watches every single night. Tom Delaney watches. He's one of the most negative. He hates Vulture. He says... Tom Delaney says F alcohol, but he usually says F Vulture. If you guys want to help out the cause, help me out financially, you can super chat or cheer some bits on Twitch. If you don't want to do that, tell your friends, family, loved ones about the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Please do. Man.
Your liver and your kidneys, but it slows your respirations.
China is the fourth child this year to be killed in the Baton Rouge area.
She had siblings, and it's going to affect them.
BRPD said,
why are you wearing a mask outside? I'm not, this is the father. But why are you wearing a mask outside? Look, I mean, it's your choice. I wore a mask all the time, but it's outside. Why?
It's going to affect them.
BRPD say it's a trend that has to stop.
The fact that has occurred is a problem. If you don't want to be a parent anymore, there are many different...
Yeah, it's not just like, hey, what up, Manu? Thank you for joining us tonight, Manu. Like, how everybody says, I dropped the kid, or the kid was dropped off at a fire. That's not just like stuff that you see in the movies. Like, if you don't want your kid, don't make them drink a whole entire bottle of liquor. You can take them to the fire department. I really do. I think no questions asked, because I think that law enforcement or any like first responder would want you to drop a kid off instead of killing it by letting it. And how did these dumbasses think that they were actually not going to get caught for this? Because even if the kid accidentally drank the alcohol, your ass still needs to go to jail. Sorry.
Layers, many different groups out there that offer help.
Now Emery's...
Danielle, she backs me up. They have baby boxes at fire stations. That's not something that you just see in the movies. It's not. What up, Austin? Austin Dew says, hey, Tuds, how are you tonight? So don't do that. If you don't want the kid, just,
left to figure out a way to bury his baby girl.
Khadijah and Roxanne's side of the family, like, if you want to reach out and get in touch with me so we can get some things together, I would really appreciate that.
Tonight, he has one message to all parents.
You have a son.
This picture breaks my heart. And you know what? There are so many times, and let's be honest, I don't want anybody to think that I'm hating or I'm being anti-women or anything like that. But let's be honest. 9 times out of 10, the father gets the bad end of the deal. The man. I'm not saying that it happens all the time, but a woman has to do something absolutely horrible not to get custody of the kids. And that's the way that it should be. Mark says, I adopted a child with autism. He's my best friend, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Mark, you're a goddamn saint. Really. I mean, there are so many kids out there, that need a home. Fish on J, I got to agree. We need a nationwide sterilization for trash like them. Well, let's be honest, though. This father most likely probably should have gotten custody of this kid. But like I said, usually the woman will get the custody of the kid. And I'm not saying anything. Look, there's a lot of men that are assholes that do not deserve any time with their kids. But this guy looks, he seems like he loves his baby girl. And this woman, let's be honest, though, she had custody of the kid. That decision was obviously wrong, correct? Because this baby is dead because the grandmother and the mother just basically force-fed a bottle of alcohol to this girl. And this father absolutely seems like, from pictures and the way he's talking, absolutely adores his daughter. Not only should the grandmother and mother should be held responsible, but they need to look into DCF. They really, really need to look at how the government failed this baby girl. Manu, me and my partner have worked hard to raise our son to be a strong, strapping lad he is today. Well, you know what, Manu? There's not a lot. I pray and hope that most people are like you. But man, this is so bad. Twisted Movies writes, perhaps if you have a child and need state aid to pay your hospital bills, they should make you get your tubes tied. Mom, can't do that. What up, Bubba? Lost everything. How are you, man? But, maybe they were just on hard times, but they are trash. Tie them up. There's no excuse for this. I don't care how desperate you are. I don't care. Look, you will sacrifice anything for your kids. Once again, not a parent, never had kids. So maybe I shouldn't even have an opinion on this.
And a daughter, love on them tonight as much as you possibly can.
Man, I'm sorry to get into some really deep stuff. I don't even know if I should get it. You know what? I'm going to get into my next story. Maybe I can get into it before. What up, stuck in Dion's tub? It's a dirty game. That might be one of the funniest things that I ever. Well, I listened, done my research on Bubba's show. That's why I even said that drop when they were like, "Why'd you lie when you came in to get a job on Bubba's show?" I was like, "Oh, it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game."
Fighting for his
yeah. Danielle says there is usually such a strong bond. What goes wrong with someone, that maternal bond breaks? Yeah. I could see that. Fish on Jay says, dig a hole in the sand for them in the beach. Let the tide come in. That was one of my Tales from the Crypt. That was one of my favorite. You guys remember the episode? Was it Tales from the Crypt? No, Creep Show. It was from Creep Show. Do you remember that little? Because that was like Tales from the Crypt, where they, I think it might have been Ted Danson. I don't know exactly, but they dug the hole and they put, buried them from their neck. Yeah, it was Creep Show. That they buried them in the sand and, waited for the water to come up, and they came back and they were like water zombies. The reason I want to talk about this story, people just got to be smarter. I'm not saying that the guy that got shot in this story was in the wrong. My whole issue is with the mother.
Man ended up fighting for his life after being shot at close range, and you won't believe what cops say the violent clash was over.
Oh, hot mom.
A parking space. Now,
I got to tell you, the reporter is pretty steamy as well, too.
the victim and his traumatized wife are speaking with Les Trent, and we warn you the video may be upsetting for some viewers.
What's about to happen in this parking lot is shocking. The guy in the dark t-shirt and jeans has just been dropped off by his work buddy. They have pulled into a parking space, and as Shane Post heads into his townhouse near Dallas, police say out.
Is this guy? I gotta get off this thing. I got a big time guest on. Hold on, let me get away from this. What up, Ralph? How are you?
How are you, buddy? How's everything?
Man, see, you got. I have the worst radio voice. I got this nerdy, like bullshit, nerdy, high pitch voice. Like I have no testosterone. And then you got a really good microphone. But you're
probably a combination of both. Yeah.
How are you, man? Where are you broadcasting from right now?
Well, I'm right now in my second bedroom, which I'm in the process of kind of changing into something, but I still use this as a backup studio. The Gas Digital Studios are about 4 blocks from my house.
I was checking you out, man. I'm not trying to be creepy or anything. By the way, like, why the hell are you doing my show?
I'll be honest with you. I go where my publicist tells me. How about that?
Well, we have a mutual acquaintance. I was because I saw that you were doing some content with Big J Okerson at one time. Ron Bennington. Yeah, do you know Ron Bennington?
Yeah, I've done his show. He's been in this room. I know you come from the Ron and Fez show, right?
Well, man, yeah. The first radio show that I interned on that I learned from everything about radio was Ron and Fez here in Daytona Beach, right before they went up north to do the ronandfez.net show back in the day. But man, Ron is one of the most brilliant, quickest guys that I've ever worked. And I've worked with a lot of radio people, and none of them have been as quick and funny as him.
Oh, he's the best. I think that he actually is probably, in terms of like solid radio guy, I think he's probably number one. I would put him, believe it or not, over Howard in terms of consistently funny on his own.
Yeah.
Where Howard has a production behind him, and some of the best lines from Howard may not be coming from Howard. Ron, it's all off of his head. So it's very different.
Ralph, I've always said that if you could get some of the best radio people and catch them off guard and say, without any show prep or anything, and you said, hey, we're bringing you in the studio right now, you're going to do this show. And I think Ron, without any show prep, just putting him in a studio by himself would knock it out of the park, head and shoulders above any of those people you mentioned.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he's a unique talent for sure. He's one of the, I did Ron and Fez once here in New York, and I did his show after Fez departed and since passed. But so I did it, and he came back when SDR first started with me and Big J. He was one of the guests, like probably in the first year or so. He came in the studio.
And his interview skills are like fantastic. Like the unmasked stuff that he does. Any of the people he has in there. All right, I know we want to talk about you and stuff. I'm not trying to.
That's fine. I don't mind at all. No, he's awesome. He's a good dude too. On top of it, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he is. Ralph, before we get into the interview and stuff, tell my audience a little bit about yourself, how they can check out your content and stuff. Because I mean, you've lived a very, very interesting life, and I got a lot of questions for you.
You can follow me everywhere at I Am Ralph Sutton. My podcast, The SDR Show, which I do with Big J Okerson, is twice a week. It's live Wednesdays and Saturdays. It comes out everywhere else Mondays and Thursdays. And then I do a health and wellness podcast as well called Good Sugar that I think is in the top 100 right now of iTunes. I don't really check charts.
Didn't you just run a marathon?
I just ran a half marathon 2 days ago. and I'm just signed up for another one in Iceland in a couple months. But then I'm a half owner of of a Gas Digital Network, which is me and Louis J. Gomez. He's my business partner. There's 22 shows on our network, including UFC middleweight champ Michael Bisping, some brilliant comedians, some great rock and roll people. We just signed Zach Wilde from Ozzy Osbourne's band. Wow. He has a show on the network. Jamie Jost of Hatebreed, the singers. There's a bunch of great content over there. We've been on air about 5-6 years with all these shows that we do live in the studio. That's, as I said, 4 blocks from my house.
Ralph, I would be an idiot because like I've been working in radio for a while, and this whole content creating thing is new to me. Like if I need to make an ass out of myself or whatever to, because I'd be an idiot because like you got a media empire growing over there. How many studios do you guys have at your place?
There's 2. We're building a 3rd right now. It's on I've been trying to post it on my Instagram, the progress. And then we have a couple of mobile rigs as well, because not all the shows are in studio. But I came from radio. I had a nationally syndicated rock radio show called The Tour Bus that was on 100 stations, and I did that for 16 years. I started that show in '99 at a small station in Jersey and got it up to about 100 stations, and left that show in about 2015 when I started the podcast in 2014. So I was doing both for about a year. But then it became obvious to me that it sounds so shitty. Radio became insignificant, and I moved over to podcasting.
Yeah, it is. What are some of the things that you had to like adapt to? I'm sure it didn't take very long, but what were some of the things that were different from doing radio to just doing this on-demand content, downloads, podcasts, and stuff like that?
Well, the biggest difference was simple. Is we would do 3-minute interviews, 3 to 5, because you weren't allowed to do a mic break for more than 3 minutes on a music show, right? So I would sometimes tape 10 or 15-minute interviews knowing that we were only going to use 3 minutes of it, but you do what you got to do. And that was a big difference, was learning to extrapolate, because I would try and figure out, how do I take a 10-minute story and condense it into a minute and a half versus how do I take a 10-minute story and just leave it as is, or make it interesting for the entire story, is a very different take on the same story, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I remember because Ron and Fez, it was a Ron and Ron show, and then Ron and Fez went out on their own, came over to Daytona, and it was on an alternative rock station, and we didn't have a delay at that time. We didn't have a dump button or anything like that. So when we were playing music, we had to take phone calls during the breaks.
I did the exact same thing and edit those clips off air. It was a disaster.
Oh, it was so bad, man. But and then we would have to play when you were doing the mute, like how many records, how many CDs or songs would you have to play an hour back then?
Well, we basically, it was very simple. It was a 3-hour show. Each hour had to have about 13 to 15 minutes of commercials in it, which is fucking crazy when you think about it. Yeah. That's like a quarter of the hour was commercials. That we had no say in that, and then so you had 45 minutes to work with. We tried to get in at least 12 songs. So if you have a figure, it's a 3-minute song, roughly 3.5, that'd be about 40 minutes. And then you had 5 minutes across the hour to do about 4 mic breaks.
Isn't it refreshing to be able to get on and just, you don't have to worry about a program director like breaking your balls or anything?
Well, I'll do it one further, because when you were with Ron and Fez, they were not syndicated yet, right? No. I don't think so. So
no, they weren't.
We were live syndicated. So we had, let's say at the time, it was when we were live syndicated, about 15, 20 stations. The hour had to end on the hour. So what that meant was within 10 seconds of the hour, if you didn't end the song or the thought, you were getting dumped out of anyway. So it didn't matter. So that was crazy, number one. Number two, you had one program director. I had 100.
Yeah.
Every single one of them thought they knew what should get played or what should be said. It was crazy.
So I see you do a lot of these events. I saw you. Did you do any of these like rock cruise promotions and stuff like that?
Oh, I hosted Ship Rock for 10 years, 12 years.
So, and what was the demographic? That was more classic rock people.
No, Shiprock. I worked on Monsters of Rock cruise, I think a year or so too. But and I did the Motorhead cruise, which were definitely skewed older. But Shiprock, they tried to bring in newer bands. So I would say the average age was in the mid 30s. I was the older dude on the boat for the most part. I'm 52 now, so I was definitely the older guy on the boat.
You family, married man?
Single, no kids. I just had Craig Robinson on my show, and he's 51, I'm 52. And I was like, wow, we both are single, no kids, never been married. Pretty wild.
How was he? I mean, the guy,
awesome.
he is so good and musically talented as well too, but his character on The Office was brilliant.
Yeah, and on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he was great as well. And it's funny because when I interviewed him, he ended up I was in Miami, and he was playing the next night. So I went to go see him, brought my mother, my stepdad, and my brother. We all went to see him, which was a great time. He's a super cool dude.
But all right, so not a married guy. Any of the older skanks, the ladies that used to be groupies back in the day or whatever. Like, I mean, come on, Ralph. I mean, you're good looking dude, big guy. How big are you? Tall guy?
I'm 6'6".
Oh yeah, see, very menacing and stuff. So, I mean, any of the older ladies kicking it out wide for you a little bit?
Well, I will tell you that it's very well documented. I'm a creep online with women, pretty horrible. But I skew way too young for my age. I would not. The girls that were interested in me on those boats that are in their late 30s or 40s are not girls that I would go on dates with. I'm openly a creep. I hit on girls on Instagram, and because they have that blue check, it adds a little more of my. That makes me look like maybe I'm not a total creep. But
well, Elon's gonna, kind of try to authenticate everybody now.
Yeah,
so.
That'd be nice. But I skew younger with my creeping dating habits. In fact, right after the show, I'm going on a date with a 25-year-old, which is less than half my age. It's pretty horrible.
What is the youngest? Like, do you like? I mean, in the eyes of the law, 18?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the. So again, it's a weird question because when I was 18, I dated someone that was 17. That's not as horrible. So when you say the youngest, you mean the youngest after I turned 50.
Yeah.
Right? I would think it was probably about 23, 24, something like that.
Now, do you like? I mean,
I don't think I'm reading your comments. I don't think I hide my gayness at all. I think I'm pretty open with my gayness.
No. Well, you gotta realize, that's why, trying to authenticate everybody, all these, I really don't care. A lot of people come in there. So, but, Ralph, so hey, now, do you find it hard to have conversations with, I know that conversations are probably not that important. Like, do you have anything in common with?
Well, I would say this as someone who also works in the talking space.
Yeah.
We can fill time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fine if I'm doing most of the talking. Is fine. Surprisingly, because everything is cyclical, older shit. Now, how many girls do you see wearing Def Leppard t-shirts now? So it's come back full circle to where me knowing Guns N' Roses makes me look cool in the eyes of a girl that's in her late 20s that's just discovering them. So that kind of shit helps. But again, I am very well aware and comfortable with the idea, knowing that it is a little weird that I'm at my age that I am, single, never married, no kids. I've embraced the fact that it's weird.
So you were talking about the blue check mark, and so and I'll admit, like I didn't like. Matter of fact, I think the first the girl I lost my virginity to, Ron and Fez, was the one that introduced me to that person. And if it wasn't for radio and stuff, I don't think that. It just made it a little bit easier for me.
Of course. I mean, look, I was a strip club DJ dude for like fucking 13 years. So I was spoon-fed vagina most of my life in that time frame because I was just the single dude in the DJ booth. So when I got out of that world, all of a sudden I actually have to hit on women. I had no idea. I don't know what that was.
How were the tips would the strippers and stuff like kick you up some tips and stuff?
I made great money in that time frame.
Wow.
You should not give. It was a weird time to be 22 and making $2,000 a night in cash as a strip club DJ. It was a crazy time.
Did you get to pick your own music and stuff? Or
you had to pick music that made sense for the club, so You got to make it was a amalgam of making the girls happy, the customers happy, the management happy, and yourself happy, all together to try and maintain an energy in the room. I was a great strip club DJ. It's a ridiculous thing, but I made a fortune.
So I gotta ask you, I saw that you've done a lot of these live events, like you've done Sturgis and stuff like that. Have you ever had one of those events that's been like a total nightmare? Like
I mean, they're all nightmares for different reasons. The amount of times that I've hosted an event where no one had any idea what we were doing as we're walking to stage. You know, like I remember one year on Shiprocked where I was hosting Rock and Roll Jeopardy. You know, that's one of these stupid things with two bands or whatever, or three bands. And I walk in and I say to the guy, okay, cool, where are the questions? And the guy goes like this, questions. Like he forgot about writing the question. So I ran backstage with a giant oak tag and just wrote up the board, and I came up with 6 categories and 5 questions in each category, whatever it was, and just quickly came up with a game, because that's what you do when you're the fucking host. You got to take care of shit. There was a time when another event, I forgot, I think it might have been the Motorhead Cruise, I forget which one it was, but the opening band was going to be late, so the boat honks the horn, and then it was stale out, and there's 5,000 drunk people, and they want to see the opening band. And the guy comes up and he goes, look, dude, they're going to be like 45 minutes late.
Wow.
So what do? You go up and you bullshit for 40 minutes. At the end of that 40 minutes, they don't blame the band. They just hate the guy that talked for 40 minutes. Who cares?
Well, I mean, I've always heard a lot of comedians say, you know, because sometimes they'll try to have comedians at these big music festivals and stuff. And they say that it is the worst gig to have because they are wanting, they came there to see the musicians and stuff, and they don't give a fuck what the comedians have to say or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm the guy that gets the shitty announcements like don't take pictures after the 3rd song, this and that. I'm the guy that's got to give the rule book, so they're never going to like you, but you go in knowing that. You're not going to win the crowd over. And also, being that I'm not a comic, I'm just like a host, whatever you call it. You know, I'd rather be perceived as a somewhat entertaining dude that got up on stage versus if you're a comic, you're going up with specific expectations. Oh, this guy better be funny. And if you're just some dude, hey, the guy that hosts the show, and you make a couple of people laugh, they fucking think you're brilliant. So that's great.
How did you become friends with you say you're not a comic and stuff, but like I know working in radio, you have a lot of comedians and stuff, but it seems like you've bonded with a lot of these very funny comedians.
Oh yeah, well, first of all, I grew up around comedy. My mom was a nightclub comedy club promoter. So I met, like as a kid, Chris Rock and Ray Romano, and I mean, I can name a list of every major comic that came out of the New York area. It was cheaper than a babysitter to have me come watch the shows at night, and that's how I met a lot of these people when I was a kid. But then I'd bring comics on my old radio show, and we'd click and vibe, and that's how I met Big J. And then Jay suggested we do a podcast together, and we started, and through him, I met all the other comics, and we built Gas Digital that way.
How many I think you said you
22, 23 shows, something like that.
Any like things for expansion? I know you're building the other studio things. Everybody wants to look at bigger and better things on how to better their brand, their company and stuff. Like what are you guys looking at?
I think if you're ever just content with what you're doing in this space, you're destined for failure. So you should always be trying to grow your listenership, grow your fan base, whatever the fuck it is. It's the unfortunate truth of the world we live in. So we're always looking at new shows. As I said, we just launched Zach Wilde, which is Ozzy's guitarist. I think that show's 2 months old. You know, we have Jessica Kirsten's show, which is great. As I said, the biggest shows on the network are Legion of Skanks, which is Big J. Okerson, Louis Gomez, and Dave Smith. That show is huge, right? And then we have Michael Bisping show is a big show. Then my show is probably the 3rd or 4th biggest on the network. And then a bunch of comics, and we try to have a couple of like old school wrestlers are on. Tommy Dreamer's on the network from the old wrestling days, and it's a really fun place to work. We try to make everybody. I tell my staff, if you're not happy coming to work every day, come talk to me because I want you to all be happy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. You know, you used to be the guy that was the talent, and you probably had a program director or whatever back in the day that you hated or didn't get along with. Like, have you ever caught yourself or like, man, I'm kind of sounding like my old boss or something like that?
That's
No.
funny. I actually try and go out of my way to be, it's a delicate balance because like I give Lewis, my partner, he would rather be their friends. Like he hangs out with them a lot more and does drugs with them a lot more. I don't do drugs. So it's just he's more their friend. I definitely step back a little more. I don't hang out with them as much. I think it's better to be a step back, but I try to do things to motivate them. So for instance, I give a reward. If you show me that I taught you to do something wrong and you found it a better way to do it, I'm going to give you money. I'd rather you be enthusiastic to figure out. Instead of just doing things the way you were taught, teach me something. Show me that we did something wrong. I'll pay you and be proud of you to do it.
Have you ever like, the New Jersey area, have you ever had to like step in like a mob boss and make an example out of anybody or like be a dick or an asshole?
I mean, I've had to fire. It was funny. I had to fire a couple of people, but I know we had to let a couple of shows go. That shit happens. And I ran a restaurant for 4 years. I went to cooking school and ran a restaurant for 4 years. So I fired a shit ton of people back then to the point where like, if I called anybody to ask them a question on the staff, they assumed I was calling to fire them because I was firing so many fucking people.
Have you ever felt bad? Like, have you ever?
Of course, you don't want to fire people, but like you'll never hear from me. I try to go out of my way to positively reinforce people, but I never yell or scream. I don't flip out, but boy, will I be fucking disappointed if you don't do the right thing.
See, I'm an only child, and I would rather get the shit beat out of me when I was a kid from my parents instead of my dad or mom saying, I'm disappointed in you. Like, seriously, like I know that's like some fucked up, like mental, like mind screw or something, but like the physical pain, just beat me with an electrical cord or something and get it over with instead of saying that you're disappointed in me.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I remember one time on the radio show, I raised my voice once because the staff was like fucking around a little bit. I was like, guys, get your fucking shit together. And it almost looked like one of them was going to fucking cry because they were so not used to me ever losing my shit. Because I'm pretty even keeled. I'm relatively in a good mood most of the time. So I definitely have a more stable vibe. And so to see me lose my shit is rare.
Man, that back to Ron and Fez. I remember Fez rarely lost his shit when I was working with him. But if Fez, if he got mad, I'd rather have Ron be mad at me because he's just gonna give you in the moment. He's gonna just give you everything he's got. But Fez, man, he never forgot anything, and he would just I'd rather get yelled at by Ron than Fez back in the day.
Funny is that I used to first of all, we have a show on the network, iHeartRadio, that has Chris Stanley, who's currently working with Ron.
He's Johnny right now, right? I think he has COVID right now.
Yeah, I think he does. And Bronx Johnny's on, who also came from Ron and Fez. But I used to listen to ronandfez.net. As I said, I was a strip club DJ driving home from Jersey at 2:00 in the morning. Their first air shift was overnights.
Yeah.
So I would listen on my way home from Jersey to New York, and they were my entertainment. So it was an honor to be on their show. Just like when I became friendly with Opie and Anthony, especially Anthony. And when I did his show, I told them I was his first Whip 'em Out Wednesday call. When they started Whip 'em Out Wednesday, I lied to promote a concert I was hosting. So I said, a girl just showed her tits. I need to get on the air. And they put me on the air. And I said, I'm on my way to this concert. And I plugged the concert and a girl showed her boobs. So I lied just to get some free press.
Man, I remember the first time I came up to New York, they were all about the gimmick and doing stuff like that. And they wanted to get, Billy Staples gave me a tour of New York City at the time. And they had me take my pic. Never been to New York or the city in my life. And they wanted me to get my picture taken in front of the Apollo Theater. And they couldn't fit the picture in. So they ran across the street to take it. They got in their car and left. You got a Florida cracker like myself, never been to the city before, and I had to find my way back.
That is brilliant.
Back to, I think their studio at the time at WNEW was like right there near Times Square.
Yeah, and that's also before Ubers and before cell phones and before.
Oh, man.
You couldn't really just do that, and you had no idea where the trains were.
No, and guess what? Some cabs won't pick you up in bad neighborhoods as well either out there. So, man, and Billy Staples was a lunatic as well too at the time. Ralph, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on my show and stuff. When I was doing the research and everything, I was like, why the fuck is he coming on my show and stuff? But you know, like if there's anything you ever need, you know, how you said you were promoting your concert and stuff, but you know, I'll go out. I'm good at doing the man on the street stuff. If you got anything down here in Florida you want me to cover.
Where in Florida are you, by the way?
Central Florida. I started in Daytona, worked in Orlando, and then I spent the last 10 years working for Bubba the Love Sponge over in Tampa.
You know what's funny about, I think it was Bubba. What's the station he was on?
Well, 98 Rock was the big station in Tampa, and then he was on 102.5 The Bone, which was the talker and stuff, man. But you know, you brought up wrestlers and stuff, man. It's like Tampa is the place where all the wrestlers go to retire and die.
But I think I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Bubba. Fuck, I don't know for sure. But so my old radio show, at one point we had to rebuild our studio, and my co-host moved to Tampa. Her name was Stacy X, and she was on, I think it was 98 Rock, and she became friend. You know, morning show was Bubba the Love Sponge, and then for a while, I would fly out every weekend to Tampa so we could do the show in the Tampa studios, and that's how I got to know him back then. But we're talking now, fucking 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, man. You know what's great? After he left 98 Rock and when he was working for Howard and them, he had his own studio, man. We used to get high. And, you know, we could wear whatever we wanted to. We weren't working at a corporate radio station or whatever. We could just go out back, smoke a joint or drink. We do anything we wanted to there. It was so great not working at a corporate radio place because he owned everything there. He owned his own studio and everything.
Most of my staff does a lot of drugs, you know. So my rule at the studio is, I don't care what drugs you do. Could you just not deal drugs in front of me? Can we set that as the boundary? And that's what then they'll even break that rule from time to time.
Have you ever like had to one of your employees like that was just so fucked up that the content was bad? Like you were like, look,
it's never. I think most of them, they do take the shows very fucking seriously. And so I've never had that happen where it's like, oh man, this guy got too fucked up to do the show. That's never happened. Although on my show, once a year, because I've never done any drugs, once a year I try a drug live on the show, and those have ended pretty poorly every fucking time.
Well, okay, so what was give me an example of the last one you did? Like
cocaine.
Wait, you did? Okay, so I mean that's one that's going to probably just make you
I hated it. I fucking hated it. I did it so I could say the only time I did cocaine was off a porn star's ass. That's the only time I've ever done coke, was on the show live. The Molly episode, I mean
how was the Molly one? Like did the Molly
we had to stop early. It was just awful. The mushrooms one, I was drooling on camera the whole time. I mean, it's all been disasters, but I might do one more, but TJ Miller did the show recently, and he wants to do Whippets with me, with the air thing.
Yeah, the CO2 cartridges and
so that's probably going to be the next episode, and then a couple other guys wanted to do the ketamine, maybe is what it is.
Oh, getting a K-hole, the cat tranquilizer and stuff. Yeah,
I just hate doing drugs. The only reason why the Whippets speak to me is that it only lasts like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's very, very quick, and it's just like you get that whoa. Like you get oh man, you seem like almost the perfect boss, man. And like I just man, okay. Anyways, Ralph, I really do appreciate that. Before I let you go, tell my audience once again how they can check out your Gaslight Media or Gas
Digital. Yeah, so gasdigitalnetwork.com. My show is the SDR Show, which stands for Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll Show. And my other show is the Good Sugar Podcast. Good Sugar is one word. And then obviously Gas Digital Network, they said. And you can follow me everywhere at I am Ralph Sutton. Let me see here. I think this week, let me just see who's happening. Let me pull up my calendar real quick. On the show this week, we have the Wheeler Walker episode just aired, as did the Craig Robinson episode. Those are the two newest episodes. Wheeler Walker Jr. and Craig Robinson.
Do you ever get nervous interviewing anybody?
Ozzy was the one time I was a little nervous. When Ozzy came on my old radio show and we were standing in a room together, I was like, wow, I wasn't nervous. It was like, oh, fuck, I'm standing next to Ozzy Osbourne. That was pretty crazy.
Well, Ralph, I can't thank you enough, man. I'm very appreciative that you came on my crappy show in a small little town in Central Florida, man. Everybody is saying they're going to check out your stuff. Catskills says that great interview and stuff. But man, I'm so grateful. And if there's anything you ever need, if there's something going on down here in the Florida area you want me to go out and cover, feel free to reach out to me.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tuddle. And I'm going to go date a girl way too appropriately young for me. Have a good night.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye. All right. So I don't know. Did I make an ass of myself? Did I seem too, was I marking out too much is what I'm trying to say? Because I don't know, like I would be an idiot. Yeah, I did kind of lock up at the end. I did. Sorry. All right, cool. I appreciate that. I'll take 7 out of 10. Dude, I had an extremely busy ass day because I had to help this woman out with her irrigation. I had to dig some trenches to lay some pipe. No, not what you're thinking. I wasn't laying actual, I was laying actual pipe, not the metaphorical like pipe you would think that I would be laying. I'm going to get back into this story. I was playing it before.
Fighting for his life after being shot at.
Recap: this guy, his buddy drops him off. This guy coming dressed up like an extra or like he's Neo from the Matrix movies, comes out in his black bathrobe with a gun because somebody is pissed, because he's pissed that somebody is in his parking spot.
Close.
And the reason I'm playing this is because what the mother, the wife of this guy that ends up getting shot does is just like mind-boggling.
Range, and you won't believe what cops say the violent clash was over. A parking space. Now the victim and his traumatized wife are speaking with Les Trent, and we warn you the video may be upsetting for some viewers.
What's about to happen in this parking lot is shocking. The guy in the dark t-shirt and jeans has just been dropped off by his work buddy. They have pulled into a parking space.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, Manu. I thought it was a cat tranquilizer, but ketamine is a horse tranquilizer. Makes it way more powerful. Horse is way bigger than a cat.
And as Shane Post heads into his townhouse near Dallas, police say out comes an irate neighbor wearing a bathrobe.
This guy acts like he's Neo in the Matrix movies, ready to just shoot up the place. You remember when Neo, they go and try to rescue Morpheus in that building and stuff, and that big shootout scene in the lobby? This is what this guy thinks he is.
He is furious, they say, because the pickup truck is parked in his assigned space.
Where's your car, man? If you're at home, where is your car? Now, this is the reason that I'm playing this story. Once again, I don't have kids. I don't think I'll ever have kids. But why is this mother coming out with her baby in her arms? Now, maybe she didn't know the guy had a gun, but look at what she does. Look at what she does when this guy does pull out a gun.
Arena Post comes out carrying their 3-month-old daughter Penelope to see what's going on.
Shane was telling him, you need to chill out. We were parked here for literally 2 seconds.
I literally pulled here for 2 seconds.
What happens next is hard to watch. As Shane steps forward,
All right. So number one, I don't know if this was in Florida. It's all over a parking spot. It doesn't make you a pussy just because you're not like holding your ground on this guy. You just don't know who has a gun. And if this guy is getting upset over a parking spot, he cannot be that stable.
The neighbor suddenly pulls a gun out of his bathrobe and fires a single shot.
All right. So, yeah, he's definitely unhinged, but look at what this woman does.
It was just the worst feeling ever, and seeing him on the ground, and he was looking at me and Penelope, our daughter.
All right, so now look, this woman, after her husband has been shot, has the baby, and she gets in between the shooter and her husband. You have your infant child in your arms. I know if I was the husband and I just got shot, I do not put the baby in danger.
No! Shane is hit in the torso. He manages to get up as his wife, still carrying the baby.
All right, come on. Bubba lost everything. You don't have to, be a shock jock in this chat room. Let the whole, I'm not even going to read that, but I'm not going to I don't care. I'm just saying you don't have to be shocking to be shocking. But look at this. The guy is there, wannabe Neo from the Matrix, and she's standing in between the gunman and your husband that just got shot.
Baby runs to his.
Bubba lost everything. Sorry, I got my concealed carry. That's not a clean shoot. It is not a clean shoot because the guy came out there. The guy caused this whole situation by going out there. And that guy did not make a clear move to assault this guy. So no, this asshole needs to go to jail. It's not a clean shoot.
Aid.
I got in front of him and I also started screaming, "Stop!"
You stepped between your neighbor and your husband when he still had the gun in his hand.
Yes, I wasn't.
Bubba lost everything. No, this guy's going to jail. No, Danielle's right. All right, okay, cool.
I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to save his life.
The neighbor retreats, but he still sounds furious.
Get out of my spot now.
This is all over a parking spot. Come on. Seriously. Next thing you're going to tell me is George Zimmerman was justified in killing Trayvon. And I know what you're going to say. Guess what? He was a wannabe asshole, wannabe cop. He went to go looking for trouble. Trayvon defended himself. And he beat the fuck out of George Zimmerman. That's the only reason. No, exactly. T-Bone's right. Did not look like in fear for life. And the guy, guess what? You call the cops. If people are parking in your parking spot, call the cops. It does not give you the right to go out there, be confrontational, and then shoot a guy. No, this guy is going to jail for a really, really long time.
No! Hurry!
The victim's mother is in disbelief.
I can't process it over someone shooting him over a parking space.
We spoke to her and her wounded son in the hospital today.
Come on. I know Fish on Jay very well, and he would tell me if he thought that was a clean shoot. That's not a clean shoot. 100% unjustified use of a firearm. The guy did not make a move that would make that guy think that his life was in danger.
He had all intentions on coming out there, pulling his gun and killing me.
Shane Post suffered wounds to his liver, colon.
Seriously, Bubba lost everything. You really think that? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Bubba lost everything. Now I just think you're trying to be a troll. And I may lose you as a supporter or something like that. I'm glad that you check out the show and everything, but come on, man. For real? You really think that was justified for this guy to be in this type of shape, that he was just getting dropped off? It's not like he was parking there. Give me a fucking break, man.
Pancreas, and urethra.
The bullet's still in me.
Wait, he got his pee hole shot? His urethra. That's pretty bad when you get your pee hole shot. Jesus.
The husband and wife are...
Oh, dude, look at... Okay. Let me ask your opinion, guys. Well, here, Bubba lost everything because he is on another platform right now. That's why you cannot see it. So I'll put it up there so you can see it. Bubba lost everything. Says you. Let's see what the court says. Self-defense. That's what Bubba lost everything says. Case. That's what Bubba lost everything says. So, I mean, I put that up there for you. I mean, the guy's pretty jacked. Now, let me get your clear, honest opinion, guys. What do you guys think? I mean, it's great for women to be in shape. And now she's, I mean, I don't know, man. She's on the borderline of being too muscular. I still think she's very attractive. But do you guys find people that are in shape or too muscular and stuff attractive or not? I mean, she's borderline. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, T-Bone, you're right. Hard like a man. I mean, Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge says I'd plow her. I mean, I wanted to get the male audience's like feedback. Do you guys find that attractive or not? Because there are a few people that I follow on social media. Manu says too many curves for my liking. All right.
Competitive bodybuilders. Their neighbor, identified as Nikki Brown, was arrested and booked on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Roots Calhoun. I mean, you're right. I like meat on the bones. That's what Roots Calhoun says. Yeah, and I mean, Atomic Shaman is right. They only get that lean for a contest. Yeah, because when I saw the video, I was like, oh man, she doesn't see. And by the way, I did not know the guy in the trench coat or black bathrobe was African American. Wow. Like Owen Wilson. Wow. Fish on J. I wouldn't mind a muscle job. LOL. Yeah, I mean, T-Bone says she's hot, but not my style. I just wanted to get some feedback there.
Weapon. And while Shane recuperates in the hospital, Irina says the neighbor has returned to the townhouse next door, having been released.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. How is that possible that guy is allowed back in the area? I don't know. Seems like we got some Legion of Dude members in here. Welcome, guys. Man, you guys are like one of my favorite groups that have checked out everything. All round and muscular. That's what Mark says. All round and muscular.
On $150,000 bail.
All right. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody that joined tonight's show. Make sure you check out the audio version of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. It's available on all podcasting platforms, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, 315live.com. Thanks to Matt Major. You can also get it on TuneIn Radio and all the other numerous podcasting platforms. If you're listening to the audio version of this show, make sure you check out the Tuddle Daily Podcast. It's available on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook.com/Tuddle. And make sure you subscribe so you get those alerts when I go live. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully you guys stay safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.